Modern pickups might brag about touchscreens, leather interiors, and turbocharged engines. But let's get real. Most of them wouldn't last a week in the shoes of the legends we're about to cover. These old trucks weren't just vehicles. They were beasts built from steel, sweat, and stubborn determination. Which machines still make today's chrome-covered trucks look soft? Buckle up, because some of these classics are about to rewrite what you thought a tough truck really meant. 1946. Dodge Power Wagon. If there's one truck that laughs at the very idea of modern toughness, it's the 1946 Dodge Power Wagon. Born out of World War II's battlefield-tested Dodge WC military trucks, the Power Wagon wasn't designed to impress you with luxury. It was designed to outlast you. This was the first mass-produced civilian 4x4, and it set the stage for every off-road pickup that came after it. Under the hood, you didn't find turbocharged computers or fancy electronics. You found a 230 cubic inch flathead six-cylinder that cranked out around 94 horsepower. Not a huge number, right? But the secret was torque. Steady, reliable, stump-pulling torque. Add a 4-speed manual gearbox, a 2-speed transfer case, and live axles front and rear, and you had a truck that could drag itself through mud, snow, rocks, or anything else nature threw at it. Farmers loved it. Loggers loved it. Soldiers who came home and wanted something just as rugged as what they used overseas loved it. And the thing about the Power Wagon is, it wasn't just durable, it was legendary. This truck became the backbone of rural America. Need to pull a barn out of the ground? Power Wagon. Need to cross a river without a bridge? Power Wagon. Need a vehicle that could double as a tractor, tow rig, or survival tool? Power Wagon. It didn't complain. It just worked. Even decades later, restorations and original survivors are still proving their worth. People spend small fortunes to bring one back to life, not because they're pretty or luxurious, but because nothing built today feels quite as unstoppable. Sure, modern trucks can haul more on paper, but few inspire the same respect. The 1946 Dodge Power Wagon wasn't a truck. It was a declaration. And honestly, it's still one modern pickups can't top. 1967 to 1972. Chevrolet CK Action Line. The late 1960s were a turning point for American trucks, and Chevrolet's CK Action Line pickups didn't just join the revolution, they led it. These weren't bare-bones haulers anymore. They were stylish, comfortable, and powerful, and they blurred the line between workhorse and muscle car in a way that modern trucks still try to replicate. Take one look at the design, and you'll understand why collectors drool over these today. Sleek body lines, wide grills, sculpted fenders, they had attitude. And under the hood, you had options. From a simple six-cylinder for the working man to small block and big block V8s that gave these trucks a rumble that could shake the windows of your neighbor's house. In particular, the 350 and 402 cubic inch V8s turned these pickups into tire-smoking machines when you wanted them to be. But here's the thing that really made the Action Line special. It wasn't just about raw power. Chevy started paying attention to driver comfort. Independent front suspension gave it a smoother ride than competitors. Trim levels like the Cheyenne or CST brought in bucket seats, wood-grain dash panels, and even carpeting. Suddenly, a pickup wasn't just something you drove to the job site. It was something you proudly parked in front of your house. Culturally, these trucks became icons. You saw them on farms, at drag strips, cruising down Main Street on Saturday night. They were as much a part of American identity as baseball and rock and roll. And decades later, the Action Line still holds its own. Modern trucks might have heated seats and 20-inch wheels, but they don't have the soul of these Chevys. The Action Line proved that a pickup could be more than a tool. It could be a statement. And if you've ever heard the growl of one of those big V8s echoing across a quiet town, you know why people say no modern pickup has truly beaten it. 1966 to 1977, Ford Bronco pickup. When people hear Ford Bronco, they usually think of the classic SUV. But for a short, glorious time, Ford offered something even rarer, the Bronco pickup. And let's be clear, this wasn't some gimmick. It was a compact, rugged little truck that could go places modern pickups still struggle to reach. The Bronco pickup was essentially an off-road warrior with a bed. It came standard with four-wheel drive, a manual transmission, and a choice of engines that ranged from a humble inline-six to a 289 cubic inch V8. Light, nimble, and tough, it could crawl up rocky trails or blast through muddy fields without breaking a sweat. While today's trucks pack tons of horsepower, they also carry tons of weight and complexity. The Bronco pickup's simplicity was its greatest weapon. Only about 20% of first-gen Broncos were built as pickups, which is why survivors are incredibly rare today. But if you're lucky enough to see one in person, it'll stop you in your tracks. The styling was boxy but confident. The short bed made it practical enough for light hauling, but its real value was versatility. You could drive it to work during the week, then take it camping, hunting, or climbing mountain trails on the weekend. The Bronco pickup became an underground legend among outdoor adventurers. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't luxurious, but it was a truck that did exactly what you asked of it and did it with style. Compare that to some modern trucks, which need 20 electronic systems just to engage four-wheel drive. The Bronco pickup kept things pure. Today, collectors pay jaw-dropping prices for clean examples, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. It's the kind of truck that proves less really can be more. For many fans, no modern pickup, no matter how expensive, has captured the magic of this little powerhouse. 1979, Toyota Hilux 4x4. If one truck deserves the crown for indestructible, it's the Toyota Hilux. And while the Hilux has been around for decades, the 1979 4x4 version is the one that truly earned legendary status. This was the model that put Toyota trucks on the map in America and became the backbone of reliability worldwide. Here's the setup. Solid front and rear axles, a bulletproof 20R four-cylinder engine, and a 5-speed manual gearbox. That combination gave the Hilux the toughness of a tank with the efficiency of a compact. People quickly realized this little truck could take a beating that would send other vehicles straight to the scrapyard. Need proof? Watch any rerun of Top Gear, where they dropped a Hilux off buildings, set it on fire, even left it in the ocean, and it still ran. The 1979 Hilux wasn't built for luxury. Its cab was cramped, its ride was stiff, and the dashboard looked like it belonged in a lawnmower. But that was the beauty of it. Nothing to break, nothing to overcomplicate. If it stopped running, you could fix it with a wrench, a hammer, and maybe a little duct tape. Try that with today's sensor-packed, computer-coded pickups. Globally, the Hilux became a symbol of durability. Farmers in Australia, shopkeepers in Africa, adventurers in South America, everyone trusted it. In conflict zones, it was known as the Technical, the truck that could mount anything and still keep rolling. That's how tough it was. Even in pop culture, the Hilux made its mark. Remember Marty McFly's dream truck in Back to the Future? That was a Hilux. It wasn't just reliable. It was aspirational, cool, and fun. The 1979 Hilux proves one thing. You don't need luxury features to win hearts. You just need grit. And when it comes to grit, this Toyota left a legacy no modern pickup has managed to beat. 1957 to 1975, International Harvester Travelette. Today, crew cab pickups dominate the market. But here's a little secret. Ford and Chevy weren't the ones who started it. That honor goes to International Harvester with the groundbreaking Travelette. Decades before the big names caught on, this truck gave families and work crews exactly what they needed: space, strength, and rugged versatility. Debuting in 1957, the first Travelettes were three-door designs, with one rear door on the passenger side. By 1961, International perfected the formula with a full four-door layout, making it the first true crew cab pickup in America. Think about that. What we now see as the default style of a modern truck was revolutionary in the late 50s, and it was International, not Detroit's Giants, who made it happen. The Travelette wasn't a gimmick. It was a real workhorse. With engine choices ranging from V8 gas burners to diesels, this truck could pull trailers, haul equipment, or crawl over rough terrain. Farmers, contractors, and government agencies quickly realized its value. You could load up 6 grown men, their tools, and still have a full bed for cargo. That combination didn't just make sense. It changed the way people thought about what a pickup could be. Of course, International Harvester never had the dealership reach or marketing muscle of Ford and Chevy. That meant the Travelette stayed in the shadows, appreciated mostly by those who actually needed its capabilities. But those who owned one swore by it. It was the truck that could do everything without complaint. Today, surviving Travelettes are cult classics. Collectors prize them for their history, but old-school truck lovers prize them because they still work. A properly maintained Travelette will haul just as confidently as any modern truck, and with a fraction of the nonsense electronics. When you see today's crew cab F-15s and Silverados raking in sales, remember, it all started here. The Travelette wasn't just ahead of its time. It was the blueprint that modern pickups are still following, and in some ways, still failing to match. 1972 to 1993. Dodge DW Series. When you think of a workhorse that refuses to die, you're probably thinking of a Dodge DW Series truck from the 70s, 80s, or early 90s. These weren't built for mall parking lots or Sunday cruises. They were built for the job site, the farm, and the open road. And when Dodge dropped a Cummins diesel under the hood in 1989, the game completely changed. Before that, the DW series already had a reputation for rugged dependability. The swept-line body style gave it clean lines, and buyers had options from gas-powered small blocks to big-block V8s. But it was the Cummins 5.9-liter inline-six turbo diesel that turned the Dodge into an unstoppable machine. With 400 pound-feet of torque right out of the gate, it could haul loads that embarrassed its competition. Farmers, ranchers, and haulers suddenly had a truck that wasn't just tough, it was brutally efficient. And unlike today's diesels, this wasn't wrapped in electronics or choked by a dozen sensors. It was mechanical, simple, and practically indestructible. That meant you could rack up hundreds of thousands of miles, and the engine would still pull like day one. Owners still brag about hitting 500,000 miles without major issues. Try getting that kind of lifespan from a truck loaded with touchscreens and digital gimmicks. The DW series wasn't pretty inside, and it didn't care. Vinyl bench seats, manual windows, and a dashboard that looked like it came from a tractor. This was a truck built to get dirty. And that's exactly why people loved it. You could spill oil, drag mud, or work it 12 hours straight, and it just asked for more. Today, clean Cummins-powered Dodges from this era are skyrocketing in value. Why? Because they remind us of a time when trucks were about work, not Wi-Fi. The DW proved that toughness wasn't a marketing slogan, it was a way of life. 1955 to 1958. Chevrolet Cameo Carrier. Picture this, mid-1950s. America, chrome everywhere, tail fins ruling the highways, and Chevrolet decides to bring a little of that flair to the working man's truck. Enter the Chevrolet Cameo Carrier, the first true luxury pickup. And let's be honest, It was so far ahead of its time that modern trucks are still chasing the formula it created. The Cameo was flashy in all the right ways. Fiberglass bed panels gave it a smooth, car-like look that stood apart from the boxy steel beds of its competitors. Two-tone paint jobs, polished chrome bumpers, and stylish taillights made it look more like a Bel Air with a bed than a farm truck. And the interior? You didn't just get bare metal and a bench seat. You got padded vinyl seats, decorative trim, and a dash that felt closer to a sedan than a work rig. Under the hood, you could get Chevy's then-new small-block V8, the 265, which gave the Cameo respectable power. It wasn't the strongest hauler on the road, but that wasn't the point. The Cameo was about showing that trucks could be stylish and comfortable, not just tough and utilitarian. Unfortunately, it was also expensive. That price tag scared away a lot of buyers who just wanted something basic for hauling hay or tools. Chevy sold only around 10,000 Cameos over 4 years, making it a rare sight today. But its influence never disappeared. In fact, every modern luxury pickup, from the GMC Denali to the Ford Platinum, owes its existence to the Cameo. What makes the Cameo unforgettable isn't just its design. It's the fact that it dared to change the way people thought about trucks. It proved pickups didn't have to be boring. And while today's trucks load up on leather and gadgets, none of them feel quite as groundbreaking as that first Cameo rolling off the line. 1960 to 1984, Toyota Land Cruiser FJ 45 pickup. If you know the Toyota Land Cruiser, you know it as an off-road icon. But here's the version that deserves more love. The FJ 45 pickup. Built from 1960 into the mid-80s, this was the truck that blended the legendary toughness of the Land Cruiser with the utility of a bed. And honestly, no modern pickup has matched its global reputation for sheer durability. The FJ 45 was brutally simple. A ladder-frame chassis, solid axles, and Toyota's bulletproof straight-six engines gave it the kind of reliability that felt almost unfair compared to competitors. Whether it was the 3.9-liter F engine or the later 4.2-liter 2F, these motors weren't fast, but they were unstoppable. With a 4-speed manual and true four-wheel drive, the FJ45 could crawl, climb, and conquer terrain that would leave modern trucks stranded. But the magic of the FJ45 wasn't just mechanical, it was cultural. In Africa, South America, Australia, and the Middle East, this truck became the trusted companion of farmers, aid workers, explorers, and even military forces. If you needed to cross a desert or scale a mountain with a load of supplies, you didn't choose luxury. You chose the FJ45. The design was timeless, boxy, purposeful, no nonsense. The bed could haul serious loads, yet the truck was compact enough to navigate narrow trails and remote villages. And while modern pickups focus on horsepower wars and flashy tech, the FJ45 showed that reliability and simplicity were worth far more in the real world. Collectors today treat the FJ45 like treasure, and prices have skyrocketed. Why? Because it's not just a truck, it's a piece of history. For many, it represents freedom, adventure, and survival. Modern trucks might outshine it in comfort or towing numbers, but ask anyone who's taken an FJ45 across the wild, and they'll tell you, no modern pickup has truly beaten it. 1978 to 1979, Dodge Lil Red Express. Now let's talk about the truck that looked like it rolled straight out of a hot rod magazine, the Dodge Lil Red Express. In the late 1970s, when emissions regulations had neutered most muscle cars, Dodge pulled a stunt no one saw coming. They built a pickup that was faster than many sports cars of its day. The recipe was wild. Start with a Dodge D150 short bed. Add a 360 cubic inch V8 tuned to about 225 horsepower. then bolt on chrome side exhaust stacks taller than the cab, skip the catalytic converters, thanks to a loophole in emissions rules for trucks, and suddenly you had a truck that could hit 0 to 100 miles per hour quicker than a Corvette of the era. Yes, you heard that right, a pickup truck embarrassing Corvettes. And it didn't just sound mean. It looked the part. Bright red paint, gold pinstriping, oak wood bed trim, and those giant vertical chrome exhausts made it impossible to ignore. If you rolled up in a Lyle Red Express, everyone noticed. It was loud, proud, and a little bit rebellious. Inside, it wasn't fancy. Basic bench seats, a no-nonsense dash. But that didn't matter. This was about attitude. Dodge marketed it as part of their adult toys line of trucks, and it worked. Buyers wanted something fun, different, and bold, and the Lil Red Express delivered. Production numbers were small, around 7,300 units total over 2 years. That makes surviving examples extremely desirable today. And while modern performance pickups like the Raptor or TRX have insane horsepower, none of them have the outlaw charm of the Lil Red Express. This truck wasn't just transportation. It was a statement. Trucks could be muscle cars, too. And for a brief window in the late 70s, Dodge built the fastest thing on the road, and it had a bed in the back. 1961 to 1980 Jeep Gladiator J Series. Before Jeep was all about Wranglers and SUVs, it built one of the toughest and most underrated pickups of its era, the Jeep Gladiator. Introduced in 1961 and later renamed the J Series, this truck was pure grit on 4 wheels. It didn't just borrow Jeep's off-road reputation, it expanded it. The Gladiator shared its DNA with the Wagoneer, giving it a rugged frame, solid axles, and a choice of engines ranging from inline sixes to beefy AMC V8s. What made it stand out was Quadra-Track, Jeep's full-time 4-wheel drive system that gave it serious off-road credibility. While most pickups of the time were strictly work machines, the Gladiator could tow, haul, and still climb a rocky trail with ease. Styling was bold and instantly recognizable, with Jeep's trademark vertical grille and a stance that screamed toughness. But what really made the Gladiator legendary was its versatility. Military and government agencies adopted it for rough-duty tasks, while civilians loved it for hunting, camping, and ranch work. In the 1970s, Jeep even offered the Honcho package, which turned the Gladiator into a street-tough style icon with wild decals, flares, and off-road gear. It was part work truck, part adventure machine, part rebel statement. Today, you'll see the Jeep Gladiator name back on modern dealerships. But let's be honest, the original J Series had a rawness the new one just doesn't match. It was simple, mechanical, and built to last. No giant screens, no endless menu buttons, just a truck that got you anywhere you needed to go. The Jeep Gladiator J Series wasn't just another pickup, it was a pioneer that proved Jeep's off-road reputation worked just as well with a bed attached. And in the eyes of purists, modern trucks still haven't recaptured that balance. 1947 to 1955. Chevy Advanced Design 3100. After World War II, America was ready to rebuild, and Chevrolet gave them the truck to do it. The Advanced Design 3100. Launched in 1947, this was Chevy's first post-war pickup line, and it quickly became the best-selling truck in the country. If you've ever seen one cruising down the road, you know why. It's timeless. The Advanced Design was different from the boxy pre-war trucks. It had smooth curves, a wider cab, and a friendlier, more modern look. But it wasn't just about appearances. The cab was bigger, with better visibility and improved comfort. You could actually sit inside for long drives without feeling like you were trapped in a tin box. That was revolutionary in the late 1940s. Under the hood, Chevy gave you the trusty Thriftmaster, 216 inline 6, later replaced by the 235 Stovebolt. These engines were reliable, easy to fix, and good enough to power everything from daily work to long hauls. Farmers loved them, small business owners loved them, and eventually hot rodders loved them too. The advanced design trucks were everywhere, on farms, in cities, and even on highways that were still being built. They symbolized progress and post-war optimism, becoming as American as Coca-Cola and jukeboxes. Even decades later, the 3100 has a charm that modern trucks can't touch. Today, restored examples are prized by collectors, not just because they're beautiful, but because they represent an era when trucks started becoming part of everyday life. Sure, modern pickups boast more power and comfort, but they don't carry the cultural weight of the advanced design. This was the truck that helped rebuild America. And in many ways, it still sets the standard for what a classic pickup should look like. 1969 to 1972. GMC Sierra Grande 2500. Before luxury trims became a marketing gimmick, GMC quietly built one of the classiest workhorses of its time, the Sierra Grande 2500. Launched at the tail end of the 1960s, this truck combined muscle, durability, and comfort in a way that modern pickups are still trying to perfect. On the outside, it looked sharp, clean body lines, bold grille, and just enough chrome to make it stand out without being flashy. Under the hood, buyers could opt for serious muscle, including the 402 big block V8. With plenty of torque, this truck wasn't just about looking good. It could tow and haul with the best of them. Inside is where things really shifted. The Sierra Grande offered upscale features like wood grain trim, plush carpeting, and comfortable bucket seats, things unheard of in most trucks of the era. It was marketed as a gentleman's truck, appealing to buyers who wanted more than just a bare-bones workhorse. Sound familiar? That's basically the playbook modern pickups are using today with their luxury trims. But what set the Sierra Grande apart wasn't just the comfort, it was the balance. It was still rugged enough for the farm, still strong enough for the job site, but refined enough for a night out. That blend of power and polish made it special. Collectors today hunt down clean Sierra Grandes because they represent a bridge between the old and the new. They're reminders that luxury and toughness don't have to be opposites. They can live in the same truck. While today's trucks lean heavily into over-the-top tech and oversized price tags, the Sierra Grande kept it simple. It gave you everything you needed and nothing you didn't. And in that sense, still unbeaten. So there you have it, 12 old trucks that modern pickups still can't top, no matter how many gadgets or horsepower bragging rights they stack on. These machines weren't built to impress, they were built to last, to work, and to create legends. Which one do you think still reigns supreme? Drop your pick in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and stick around, because the next story might just blow your mind.